Charles Baudelaire, Les Fleurs like Charles Baudelaire is probably like the first real modern poet. You know, because poetry before him was sort of romantic or classicist, sort of like Greek or classical themes. And you know, there was like Victor Hugo and Paul Verlaine, and well, you know, he's only maybe only equaled by um, Arthur Rimbaud, but Arthur Rimbaud only wrote very. He didn't write that much during his life. So, and you know, like Baudelaire was kind of seen as a decadent. You know, he was like the first poet that just kind of you know, instead of writing about the, you know, the Greek gods or you know, like typical poetry like of the time, like Victor Hugo, Algernon Swinburne, uh, Longfellow, Walt Whitman. He wrote about the city. He wrote about smells and stuff. So they talk about him. And this book came out in the 1850s. So he published a few poems, and he was like the maybe the first poet that wrote about smell and fragrances and stuff. And yeah, so he was kind of seen as kind of arty farty. I guess you know. I guess there's Mallarmé too, but he seemed like more kind of like an academic poet, kind of, but you know, kind of arty farty, but like academic. And then there's Baudelaire, who was a so let's read a little bit of Baudelaire. To the reader, stupidity, delusion, selfishness, and lust torment our bodies and possess our minds, and we sustain our affable remorse the way a beggar nourishes his lice. Our sins are stubborn, our contritions lame. We want our scruples to be worth our while. How cheerfully we crawl back to the mire. A few cheap tears will wash our stains away. Satan Trismegistus subtly rocks our ravished spirits on his wicked bed until the precious metal of our will is leached out by this cunning alchemist. The devil's hand directs our every move. The things we loathe becomes the things we love. Day by day we drop through stinking shades, quite undeterred on our descent to hell. Like a poor profligate who sucks and bites the withered breast of some well-seasoned troll, we snatch at in passing at clandestine joys and squeeze the oldest orange harder yet, wriggling in our brains like a million worms. A demon demos holds its revel there, and when we breathe, the lathe in our lungs trickles, sighing on its secret course. If rape and arson, poison and the knife have not yet stitched their ludicrous design onto the banal buckdrum of our fates, it is because our souls lack enterprise. But here, among the scorpions and the hounds, the jackals, the apes and vultures, snakes and wolves, monsters that howl and growl and squeal and crawl, in all the squalid zoo of vices, one is even uglier and fouler than the rest, although the least flamboyant of the lot. This beast would gladly undermine the earth and swallow all creation in a yawn. I speak of boredom, which, with its ready tears, dreams of hanging as it puffs its pipe. Reader, you know the squeamish monster well. Hypocrite reader, my alias, my twin. So, yeah, I mean, he's sounding a little bit different. He's definitely influential of on Rimbaud and T.S. Eliot and all these people. So let's get to this. And this book, I mean, I think it came out in '82, the Richard Howard translation. So I read a lot. Back when I was younger, I read a lot of Richard Howard translations of Camus and other people. So let's see. So he has poems about women and cats, music, owls. So the happy corpse. So spleen and obsession. How much time do we have? Okay, so 5 minutes. Okay. Sympathetic horror. When the sky appears in pain and sunset no more than a wound, what are the thoughts that occur to a libertine soul like yours? Nothing can slake my thirst for the nameless and the obscure. You'll never hear me complain like Obed whining for Rome. The canyons of the bloody cloud accommodate my pride. Their nebulous shape become a splendid hearse for my dreams. Their red glow, the reflection of the hell where my heart's at home. So yeah, a lot of hell in these poems. Let's see what else. Yeah, Parisian scenes. Okay, so he's like the first guy that kind of he dedicates a couple poems to Victor Hugo. So let's try to get a shorter one. Dance of Death. Let's read it a little bit of this one, not the whole thing. Okay, Parisian Dream. He's the first one that kind of writes about cities. Like he's kind of romanticizing the idea of living in cities and stuff, and like whereas poetry before was either about Greek gods or the beauty of the countryside or something, or a flower or something. So Parisian Dream. It is a terrible terrain, nor mortal eye has seen, whose image still seduces me this morning as it fades. Sleep is full of miracles. Some impulse in my dream had rid the region I devised of every growing thing. And proud of the resulting scene I savored in my art, the rapturous monotony of metal, water, and stone. A maze of stairs and arches formed an endless palace filled with basins where the bright cascades fell into tarnished gold. So let's see. Okay, so the next one's called Wine, and then this is the French part. Let's see. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, possessed. The vampire. So he's writing about vampires. Like he was also Baudelaire was a critic. He translated Edgar Allan Poe, and he's a big influence. And I mean, I suggest. I mean, yeah, you should read Ulysses, but I mean, like a lot of the books I'm gonna talk about, Baudelaire is kind of an important influence on what comes later in modernism. He's definitely like one of the few texts that we're gonna talk about, like in maybe all the books. I mean, I think he's referenced in some of the other, like some of the Nabokov and Joyce and others. Okay, so that's it. That's all. That's book talk. Charles Baudelaire version, Les Fleurs du Mal. See you in the next time.